is water leak, wildfire, fuel spill. My name is construction, renovation, divestiture. My name is power outage, or to be entirely honest, my name is Jessica. But while that list may not be my name, it's really indicative as to some of the challenges that I've encountered in my fairly short career in FM. But more interesting than the diversity of those challenges is how they came to me. Because I didn't go to a college and ask to take a class in how to handle a power outage from the FM perspective. You know, when the power goes off and so does your phone, 12 phone calls, 6 text messages, and alerts from your BMS system. Nor did I ever take a class that taught me how to politely handle the director who wouldn't quit calling you every 5 minutes for an update on the power outage. My industry was another industry entirely. My plan was another industry entirely. And there is one event that redirected me into FM, and that was the day that I lost my job. It does, doesn't it? So my job at the time was an inventory technician role. I counted units and boxes and cartons and cases, and then I turned the cases to cartons to boxes to units, and I distributed everything to keep levels at par. But some of the other things that I did was I created a new inventory management process for myself. I had a system that tracked expiration dates across every end state location, and I tried my hardest to redesign that warehouse for increased efficiency, none of which was in my job description. So I go to work one day and, thank you, but we no longer have a need for your services. Well, isn't that fantastic? But there were 2 people at that company who saw something in me, and they didn't just let me leave. They brought me to their office, and they offered me this role to help design the new facilities management department for the company. Sure, how hard can that be? I have not a clue on what FM is. No formal education, no industry experience, but I got this. And ironically enough, that has become a theme in my career. I call it falling up. And I liken it to this wonderfully paradoxical problem of falling up the stairs, where you are ascending a staircase, you stub your toe on a riser, and immediately try to do 2 things simultaneously. 1, you try to continue that upward ascent on the staircase, and 2, you try to do it without landing on your face. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is my career in a nutshell. And that has held true even to my current role, where I made probably the best rookie mistake you can make when you were trying to get a job. There was a company who had an ad out, and they wanted to fill a facilities services delivery position. Say that 5 times fast. And they were specifically looking for somebody who was new into management and early career. Okay, so even right here, I don't have all the requirements they want in the job description, but I thought, hey, why not? I'll go ahead and try it anyway. 2 phone interviews later, and I'm standing here like, pick me, pick me. Sure enough, along comes a job offer. I pick up my family, we relocate, and there I go into my new role. There is just one problem. At no point in any of these conversations did it even occur to me to ask how many square feet it was that I would be managing. Well, the metro is 2 million. Luckily for me, I only get to manage about half of that across a couple of sites. All right. In the past year, I have worked a company split. I have managed a huge amount of short-term growth with no room to place them, a partial restack, a building refresh project, and I am currently working not 1, but 2 company divestitures with construction and a restack again. My 1-year evaluation comes around, and I'm looking at my boss like, wow, you had some faith in me, huh? I will never make that mistake again. And you know what else is really intimidating? When you get handed a project that you personally feel completely unqualified to deliver, and you're in a meeting with all those people that you fondly suppose are the experts there to help you, When the manager says, remember, you are the smartest person in the room right now. Okay, well, why don't we talk about what to do when you are overwhelmed or in over your head? And since I have spent almost my entire career in this position, I really feel qualified to talk about this topic. There are 3 things that I have discovered you really need to have in your back pocket to succeed in this industry. 1 is education, 2 is experience, and 3 is your network. But what I do not mean is a 4-year degree, a 4-page CV, and a gold star on LinkedIn. No, no. By education, I just mean formal knowledge, whether that is a degree, a credential, a certification, or something like fire, life safety, building code that you've encountered in your work experience. Which leads me to work experience. And this is a tricky one, because work experience is not necessarily the job you signed up to do, it's the job you actually do. And you might find yourself in a position where, big shock for everybody, right? FM doesn't have very well-defined job descriptions sometimes. And that path of career progression can be a bit hazy as well. You might sign up for a role to do, I don't know, data entry on your asset registry. 2 years later, you could find yourself managing a building. A chill water pipe breaks in your plenum and starts dumping water in your electrical room. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a position where you need to know a whole lot about plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and business continuity, and you need to know it right now. Which leads me to your network, and here we are. My first world workplace was Atlanta. And I went to that kind of like I went into the industry. No experience, no education, and not a clue what I was getting into. The first session that I recall attending was, ironically enough, about social networking for professionals. And I went up to the speaker afterwards and I said, so what exactly is a LinkedIn page? And I'm fairly certain I rendered her speechless, because really, there's a 20-something out here who doesn't get social networking? But it was a pivotal moment for me. It was an educational moment for me. By the end of the conference, I had my very own LinkedIn page. And I had probably 2 inches worth of business cards from everybody that I had met. And those people became my network. They pushed me, they guided me, they taught me, they helped me volunteer and get involved. They forgave me the mistakes that I made. And they helped me grow and develop as a professional. All of which is, of course, fantastic. But that is my story, my staircase, my non-linear path of career progression. We've talked about the mistakes that I have made. I've touched on some of the accomplishments, and I have barely mentioned my successes. I have given you the 3 tools that I think you need to succeed in this industry. But you know what else I've given you? I've given you an example. I have stood up here today in front of so many thousand people, many of whom I do not know, and I have told you my story. So now, as I flee back to the safety of the space behind the spotlights, I would like to challenge you. Get out here at World Workplace and tell your story. Listen to the story of others. Connect. Come back at the end and beat my 2-inch stack of business cards. And if you don't know where to start, let me help you out. Start with 1. Find 1 person and let them connect you to the rest. And you already have your 1 person. Because even if this is your very first foray into the industry and your very first world workplace and you don't know anybody else, well, now you know me.